Hey everybody, it's me, Russ, doing a review of Lyft Hertz, the Express rental car system, whatever you want to call it, for renting cars with Lyft. Should be interesting. We're going to do pros and cons, and the biggest question for me is this profitable? Is it worth... I'm going to base this on a 40-hour week, and we'll see how much money I made. You know, working for Lyft is hit and miss. Hopefully I'll be able to answer all your questions as well. Okay, so things I'm covering in this here video. Lyft Express drive rental program through Lyft, pros and cons. Can you drive Uber? No. I'll cover that more soon. This is for the Seattle market. XLs and hybrids, availability, something I'm going to cover. Insurance, deposit. Do you have to have a deposit on the vehicle? Yes. Distance, how far is it from to the lot? There's only one lot to rent so far. Again, the date on this is July 2019. That's important. This is time sensitive. Just throwing it out there. July 2019. All right. This video is being released. So how far is it to the one lot that's in the whole Seattle metro area? I cover that. Lyft rental minimum time. Is there a minimum time you have to keep the car? Yes, there is. Can I express pay still to get your pay daily? Possibly. I cover that. Lyft provide chargers, amp, phone mount. It's in there. Tolls. How long did the process of renting the car take? There's a little video you got to watch, but I cover that. Anyway, Lyft favor Express drivers. I cover that. And the number one question everybody wants to know, is it profitable? So yes, covering the big question, cost. I live in the Seattle metro area. I'm a Lyft driver here in the Seattle metro area. That makes a difference, all right? Different state laws, different rules. Hertz has different rules. Lyft has different rules. I see so many videos. I see so many comments on Facebook. Lyft and Uber drivers break room is one of the biggest out there, somewhere around 30,000 members. But there's so many people that say things as definitive fact when your market, all right, that is so important. What market you're in makes a huge difference. So ask questions, but you could use this video as a reference on what questions you should ask as well. I'm over here in Renton, by the way, under the power lines. I'm not on Lyft or Hertz property doing this video just to comply with all the laws. I didn't have their permission to film there, so I waited till I got the car off the lot to do this video. Pros and cons, all right? So one of the things right off the bat was not a lot of variety, all right? I got a Kia Optima. Wouldn't be my first choice. And I talked to the guy there, Tim, who was super helpful. All the employees at Lyft are great. And, you know, again, it's not the employees. People take it out on the guy sitting behind the screen a lot of times in some of these situations. And it's not that I was, you know, super disappointed or whatever, but yeah, it's like, come on, man, Kia Optima. It's like, all right, that's cool. I got to drive it. You're going to charge me weekly fees and rates and all that. But again, not my first choice. Now, another reason for that is I drive an XL, all right? An XL vehicle, I make more money with my XL. Yeah, I'm spending more money on gas, but is this profitable? Again, is this worth it? There was no XL vehicles available. There was also no hybrid vehicles available. So there was one hybrid vehicle that they rent out for Lyft drivers. This isn't it. All right, they didn't have any available. It was the Ford Fusion, I believe it was, through Hertz. So again, you gotta work your way up. The guy was telling me, you do X amount of rides a week, and you get it on a list for hybrid vehicles, and XL vehicles, I guess, are still questionable. Maybe this is also, as an XL driver, why I favor Lyft over Uber, because I tend to get a lot more XL rides with Lyft, and maybe this is part of why, because Hertz doesn't like to give their minivans and such to Lyft drivers. I don't know. So again, there's a Lyft process, and Lyft is teamed up with Hertz, but they're two different companies. So I'm doing this for a week, and while my car's in the shop, my van is in the shop, and we'll see how this goes. Is it profitable? Because again, you're not paying for insurance. I'm not paying for maintenance, right? I'm spending $500 deductible on running over a big chunk of concrete in Seattle. So that's why my car's in the shop. This vehicle, that's what I want to find out, right? Because again, I'm not having to pay for insurance, and I'm not having to pay for tires, oil changes, any kind of thing breaking down. All of that's covered. But does that make it more profitable? That's the question I'm after. So that's another thing, when checking your car for dings, it's easier to see scratches and stuff when it's sunny, and if you're in the shade, it's easier to see little tiny dents. Like this one had a little dent here, little one tiny dent on the back trunk. So make sure that's taken care of as well. It's good to use Google Photos, which is a free app that stores your photos for you. It actually timestamps every photo, so it's a good way to also have proof when you took the photo. When you're renting a car, you don't want them charging you for dings that you didn't do. I didn't do that. Scratches, anything like that. This car it's not super clean. It's got a little ding scratch right there. I didn't do that. Again, I just pulled this car off the lot and took it almost across the street. Tabs and licensing, that's another thing that you're not paying for with a rental car. That's being covered for you as well. And it can be expensive here in the state of Washington. So that's something to remember. Yeah, just making sure you're covering your hind end here with any dings or scratches they might go after you for. So, hey, this one looks pretty good. Missing a valve cover. Rental, Kia Optima. Here it is. All right, YouTube. So, been driving the rental now for over a week. Week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. So pros and cons. All right, we'll do pros and cons here. Pro, what does it cost? Let's answer that question. Here in the Seattle area, I rented the car from Renton here, which is difficult for me because I live in Everett, which is all the way on the other side of the Seattle metro area. So Seattle sits in the middle. Renton is about, I'd say 15 minutes south of Seattle. I live about 25 minutes north of Seattle. So it was quite a trek to get down here to rent this vehicle. I'm wearing my Firebird shirt as I drive the Kia Optima. So $264 for the week. All right, now that's some money. It's not too crazy when it comes to renting a car. It's kind of standard car rental rates for a vehicle like this, I suppose. With me, I have an insurance situation where insurance is kicking in $25 a day, but it's, I calculated that out. It's somewhere around $37 a day to rent this vehicle after taxes. Now, here in Washington State, we have a lot of taxes. there's a good chunk of taxes on any rental car that you rent. So it's sort of like, someone can say, oh yeah, you're renting a car for $20 a day, and the taxes can be, more than that. So that's a thing here. I don't fault Lyft and or Hertz for that. We don't have a state income tax here, so sales tax and any other way that they can create revenue, user fees, is taxing just about everything. So that's kind of how they do it here in Washington State. So $265 a week, and that comes out of your Lyft earnings. So right up front, you're given a minimum number of rides. So for the week, for me, it was 20. And then you have to pay off the vehicle before you start earning your first dime. So you need some money up front, right, to pay for gas. It cost me, I figured, about $60 in gas. And gas in this is better than my van, a little better than my van, but it still uses it's not a hybrid. All right, they didn't have hybrids available, didn't have vans available, so that was kind of a con. Not a whole lot of variety here. So here's the pro for you. If you work a job and your daily driver is a piece of crap, right? And you want to drive a kind of nice car, a new car. You can change these cars out every week if you want. You can do that, and you get your minimum rides, which for me was 20 rides, which I did in about 2 days. And you pay for your car as you drive the car. So that's not a bad deal. But if you're looking to do this if you're looking to make a living doing rideshare, which I don't, anyone who does this is not going to say, hey, yeah, go out and try and make a living doing rideshare, unless they're trying to sign you up to get some bonus. If you want to do this full time, it's like $900 a month, right? It's over $900 a month. If you got 4 weeks, a full 4 weeks in a month, it's $1,000 plus to rent this car. That's a considerable amount of money. You have to factor that out of how much you would make. And, if it wasn't for the insurance company kicking in some of the money, this last week I would have made way less than minimum wage. All right. Now, my first week, I rented the car on a Wednesday, and that's part of this thing too, is you have to keep the car for a minimum of a week. All right. But I rented the car on Wednesday. It was $155 for that week, and then I brought the car. If I would have brought the car back, it was still right. Wouldn't work that way. You got to keep it for a week. So, but that first week, it was only $155. I made over $900 in rides. My take home after gas money and everything was around $700. So that wasn't too bad. But then the next week, when it was boom, $264 some odd dollars, I'm like, whoa, right? And it was a slow week. Even though it was, 4th of July weekend, the weather wasn't great. Driving the 4th of July in this vehicle, not my XL, wasn't as profitable. There was a lot of streets closed, so passengers were requesting rides in areas by Gasworks Park where the streets were closed. So that was a nightmare, and it was just a slow week. I didn't make my goal. That was another con. As soon as I started renting the vehicle, the next week that it kicked in, I noticed I'm making less per mile. All right, and my bonus had dropped from $76 for doing 70 rides to $60 for doing 80 rides. And I'm like, WTF, right? Like, what the fair? Why? Another thing, there's a rumor that was going around on some of the blogs about how Lyft Express people, right, are getting favored for rides. Like, if you rent a car, it's going to give you more rides so you can pay the car off. Like, that was sort of I've proved that wrong this week. I got way more rides with my private vehicle than I did with this thing for the last week and the week before. Just not as many rides, man. You can't drive Uber, all right? So that's another one. You want to do this for a living, and most people do both. In my XL, I dropped Uber just because I got a lot more XL rides with Lyft, and maybe that's because there's a shortage of XLs on Lyft, just because, for example, you can't rent one, right? If they rented some XLs out there, maybe there would be more XLs with Lyft, but I always found I got a lot more XL rides as a Lyft driver than an Uber driver. So, and I hit the bonuses with Lyft, which was part of why I just dropped Uber completely with my XL. Insurance, that's a plus. So the $264 a week also covers your insurance as a driver. So you're covered through Hertz or Lyft. You know, when you have a passenger in the car, you know you're covered with Lyft or Uber. But, you know, with Express rental through Lyft, you can't drive Uber, so you're just with Lyft, but your insurance is covered. So you got to kind of work that into the price as well. So that $900 some odd includes your insurance as a driver driving rideshare. Do you get to still do Express Pay, Russ? Yes, you do. But you have to wait until you're covered for your rental, right? So once that rental threshold is crossed, then you can start hitting the Express Pay button and getting paid every day, which was great on Wednesday. You know, when I rented the car on Wednesday, I it took a day to hit my $155. But then the next week, it took me over 2 days. After 2 days of working and two $30, gas bills, I finally crossed that threshold. Like on the next morning, I think it was $10 that I had to make on Wednesday or Thursday. I didn't work Monday, so I paid for the car that day. That's another one. But I could see how, I don't know if they allowed you to do it, to rent the car for 5 days, drive it during the weekends. That's because that's the day I made the most money. And, it just kind of makes sense, right? You start your week on a Wednesday, you end your Friday, Sunday. Here in the Seattle area, this is tourist season. There's a lot more people in town. So that might be profitable. But you have to rent the car for a week. There's a $250 deposit that you get back when you return the car. So that's a thing too. That's another, you're going to have to cover that if you're going to rent the car. You do get it back when you return the car, but then when you rent the car again, you got to get another $250 deposit. So that's the thing. What does Lyft give you when you rent the car? Do I got to bring a bunch of my junk, Russ, to the rental place? They gave me a holder for my phone, so that was included. They gave me a charger for my iPhone even, because I just rented the car kind of on it. Like, I'll try this out, why not? I didn't have my stuff ready, so they gave me a charger, plug-in here. What else do we got? We got my amp. They gave me an amp that goes with this car, I guess, and so that was helpful. Lyft stickers on front and back are on the vehicle already, so that was cool. And it came with a phone holder. Check it out. That's kind of cool. Porting over from private car driver to rental, like it took minutes. It was really quick. The Lyft software in there, they line you up with a car. You like this car? Yep. And then boom, you're in the car. It was that fast. Another thing is this, which I stuck a piece of Velcro up there. you're not given one of these. So that's something you're going to have to get on your own, or pull out of your car if you have one in your daily driver. If you drive on the 405, you're right, without having the red on, right? If you're an honest person and you put toll when you right. So yes, if you drive across the bridge, you're gonna need one of these, or they're gonna charge you not only the mailing fee from WASDOT, right, but the rental company is going to charge you an extra fee for sending you the toll every time you drive across the 520 bridge. Or you drive in the carpool lane alone and do the toll thing. Yeah, they're going to charge extra. So make sure you have your good to go pass, flex pass, all right? You're going to need that. You're going to have to put fuel in it before you return it. Fill it up just the way it was when you got it. That's kind of standard car rental stuff. So yes, that's right. That is 50 hours and $332 for the week. Now, what you don't see is the rental, all right? It covered the rental, and that's, so that was my earnings, all right, for the week. And 100 of that, I'd say 110 of that was gas money. So $232, that came out to about $4.30 an hour, all right? Now, this was a slow week, I'll admit that. But when it comes to having a slow week, it can be an inconvenience. It can be tight that week, right? But with the rental, all right, my reviewing the rental here, it was devastating. You know, making $4 an hour, that's way less than a minimum wage. Okay, I could have made more working at McDonald's or pushing carts at Walmart or something like that. Like, I make double that with those places, and that's not good. So, yeah, man, I'm having a hard time recommending Lyft Express Drive rental here in the Seattle area for that reason. And I have to admit, from Wednesday to Sunday, the previous week, I made pretty good money. But again, I didn't have to pay as much for the rental because I didn't have it for an entire week. I said at the beginning of this video I would be basing it on a 40-hour work week. I live in the Everett area, so commuting from Everett to Seattle, I'm factoring in some of that, right? And sometimes we have an airport here in Everett now, Payne Field. That's a place where I can go and get rides, you know, into the city in a lot of cases, sometimes not. That's a factor. So I'm giving, right, I'm giving Lyft the benefit of the doubt. And even though I set the destination filter, you know, home and into the city sometimes, right, I'm factoring in commuter hours there, right? So 48 hours the first week and 50 hours the next week, still not real profitable, especially that second week when I had to cover that monster $265 payment. So wait, Seattle Whole Foods guy pushing carts or bagging groceries is making $15 an hour. There's a $15 minimum wage per hour in Seattle. So that cat would have been making more than 3 times what I made driving for Lyft last week for 50 hours. Ouch. There you go. Thanks for watching. Hey, subscribe to my channel. There's more than just rideshare stuff. Okay? I'm fun. I don't know. Fixing cars, advice on cooking stuff, life. I don't know. This is an ongoing saga, the Shaw Family Videos channel. So, Please like this video if it helped you in your life. Share it with a friend, maybe somebody who's contemplating doing rideshare for a living. Oh God, yeah. Thanks for watching. Again, subscribe. It would warm my little heart for you to subscribe to this channel. Thanks again. Bye.